I was grateful for the opportunity at Delaware State University because the opportunity to meet Dean Williams. And Dean Williams believed in me. And I was a non-traditional student at the time. I graduated at the age of 29. And I pray that that's an encouragement to all students, that it's never too late. And that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So it doesn't always mean that it's going to be prosperity. There will be suffering in the journey, but God believes in us. So it's one thing to believe in Him, but God believes in us. So I look back on that college experience, and it was just a great opportunity, a great time of development. And I was able to go on to that opportunity at MBNA through the help of Dean Williams. And eventually I started in the management program and moved on to management opportunities, and would work for MBNA for what would be 9 years.
After having success in the business world, Randy felt a call into ministry. He is currently involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, where he has the ability to work with coaches and athletes.
So I began to make positive changes at work, and those were really a result of just an inward change that was beginning to transpire, that was happening through the Word of God. And I began to look at people as God's children and not someone that could get me to where I wanted to go professionally. So we would eventually change our locations. We would move from Maine to, I would work in Hunt Valley, Maryland, but we would live in York, Pennsylvania. And we were blessed at the time because there was a leadership development ministry at a church that was only 2 miles away from our house. And I attended a leadership development conference, and really I look back at that as a spiritual landmark in my life. Gordon MacDonald was the speaker, and he talked about living an intentional lifestyle. And at the time, I really wasn't getting my reps in the morning, nor was I reading leadership books. And in the workplace, I was really beginning to become frustrated because I wasn't being promoted. My performance appraisals were good, and I thought that I was worthy of a promotion, and I really didn't understand how I was blind to my selfishness and pride. And we would continue to produce results, but I would leave that leadership conference, and I would begin an intentional lifestyle where I started with 15 minutes a day of reading the Bible, and then I would progress even to, at some mornings, I would be up to about an hour and a half every morning of studying both the Bible and reading leadership books. And God really began to change my heart from the inside out. 2 months after that conference, I followed in believer's baptism. It was shortly after baptism that I was promoted to being a department manager, where at the end of my career at MBNA, I would manage 120 credit analysts and 8 bank managers. And we really just began to examine the convictions in our heart. And we were passionate about ministry. We saw God doing a great thing at MBNA, and we really began to evaluate what was important to us. And we began to just ask God. We were praying consistently, and probably continued for somewhere around a 10-month period. We sensed in our hearts that there's potentially change. And I attended an FCA banquet. Someone had invited me that I managed, and we were just amazed at a sports ministry. And obviously, with all the pain from my past, it was something that was missing in my development as a young person. I just saw an amazing niche for young people and coaches to be able to bring Christ into sport. A lot of times we do that separately. We live in compartments. We'll do church on Sunday, and then we'll do our sport whenever the sport is. But to be able to see that combined and actually be Christian coaches or Christian athletes was really exciting to me. And obviously had a heart connection with that because of what I went through developmentally. So we began to get involved. I started to get involved as a board member to see what I could do. And then eventually we would be in a position the further we looked at that ministry, and at the end of that 10-month period of evaluating of potentially even leaving a financially successful career in corporate America to become a full-time missionary.
The Apostle Paul once wrote that all have sinned and fall short of God's glory, but God is faithful and just to forgive and purify of all unrighteousness. This is Randy's Chambers story, from the bottom to the top.